So today we're going to talk about something huge. We're diving into how India is building a globally competitive electronics manufacturing industry from the ground up. Let's get into it. Think about it. From the smartphone in your pocket to the car you drive, these intricate little circuits are literally everywhere. They're the nervous system of our entire digital world. But for a country like India, for a long time, they've also represented a massive dependence on other countries. And this is the scale of that dependency. $54 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That's India's annual trade deficit just for electronics. It's a huge structural challenge for their economy. But this is where the story gets really interesting. What if that staggering number wasn't just a problem? What if it was actually the spark, the catalyst for one of the most ambitious industrial transformations happening anywhere on the planet right now? All right, so let's break down this $54 billion problem and see exactly how it's turning into an incredible opportunity. So what's really lighting a fire under this whole thing? Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm of factors. You've got strong government support with some serious incentives. There's the whole global China plus one strategy where companies are desperate to diversify their supply chains. And on top of all that, you have a massive, booming domestic market for electronics. The goal has become crystal clear. Why import it when you can build it in India? And make no mistake, this isn't just wishful thinking. This is a deliberate, long-term policy push. Let's take a look at how the government is methodically powering up its manufacturing game. You can actually see the strategy evolving right here on this timeline. It all started over a decade ago with some basic subsidies to help with capital costs. Then, things got a bit more sophisticated, right? They introduced phased programs to build up a local supply chain for mobile phone parts. By 2020, the famous PLI scheme came along to supercharge large-scale production. And now the focus is getting even sharper, drilling right down to the most critical core component. And this quote right here, it just nails it. India absolutely crushed it with mobile phone assembly. It's become a global powerhouse. But final assembly is just the last step. The real value, the real prize, is deeper inside the device, in those subassemblies and core components. And that brings us to the absolute heart of the strategy, climbing the value chain. It's all about shifting from the low-value work of just putting things together to the high-value, complex world of actually making the parts. So picture manufacturing like a ladder, okay? India got really, really good at step 4, the final box build, putting everything together. But the massive opportunity, the place where they are most dependent on imports, is mastering step 2, making those core components right there at home. To build a whole domestic industry, you have to start with a strong foundation. And in the world of electronics, that foundation really comes down to one key component. Meet the printed circuit board, or PCB. You've definitely seen these before. It's that green board you find inside pretty much every gadget you own. It's the backbone. It holds everything together and lets all the different tiny parts talk to each other. Okay, now look closely here because this is a really important difference. On the left, you've got a bare PCB. That's just the foundation. On the right, you have a PCBA, a printed circuit board assembly, with all the chips and components attached. India is making a huge shift from just doing the assembly on the right to actually manufacturing the bare board on the left. And why is this such a big deal? Well, get this. Right now, a whopping 88% of the bare PCBs used in India are imported. That's a massive vulnerability for sure, but it's also a massive, massive opportunity for local manufacturers. But here's where the strategy gets really, really smart. India isn't just trying to make any old PCBs. It's making a very specific and very high-tech bet. This table basically shows you the two ends of the market. On one hand, you have the low-tech stuff. It's simple, the market is crowded, and the profits are slim. But on the other hand, you have the high-tech market. We're talking complex multi-layer boards or those fancy HDI boards you need for today's super compact gadgets. It's much harder to get into this market, but that's where the real money is. And that's exactly where India is aiming. And this chart, wow, this chart tells you everything you need to know about why they're making this bet. The numbers are just wild. A square meter of a simple single-sided PCB, it sells for about $30. But a high-density board for a smartphone? $500. That is a 17 times price premium. That's what climbing the technology ladder looks like. And you know what the best part is? The timing is absolutely perfect. India's own domestic market is hungry for these more complex boards. By 2029, it's expected that nearly 3/4 of the entire Indian PCB market, by value, will be for these advanced boards, the very same ones local manufacturers are now gearing up to produce. It's a perfect tailwind.
So this is way beyond just a plan on a piece of paper. The money is flowing, the factories are actually getting built, and most importantly, the economics just make sense. Let's see how it's all taking shape.
You've got some serious players, both homegrown and international, investing heavily in this vision. We're talking about companies like Amber, Keynes, and Surma leading the charge. And these are not small investments. We're talking billions of dollars in capital expenditure, all laser-focused on producing these high-value, complex PCBs. This is the strategy playing out in real time. And finally, we get to the bottom line, the one question every investor asks: does it actually pay off? Well, when you combine the government incentives with this sharp focus on high-value products, a domestic PCB manufacturer can expect a return on capital employed of around 18%. So this isn't just a strategic goal for the country, it's a seriously attractive business to be in. So by tackling its $54 billion import problem, India is actually building the foundation for a much bigger ambition. It's creating a strong electronic backbone that can support an entire ecosystem of innovation. It's strengthening its place in the global supply chain. So the real question now is, with this foundation in place, what will they build next?